This is the Thieaudio Perseus. I first heard this at Can Jam Singapore in May, and when I heard it, they asked us to guess what the price is, and I thought one of the options was 1399, so I just ticked that. Because it comes with two dynamic drivers in a dual isobaric configuration, plus two balance armatures for the mids, 4 planar magnetic tweeters for high, and one bone conductor driver. So when I looked at the specs and I heard it, my impression was that yeah, it's roughly about 1,004, 1,005. I think it fits in the price category. It's not. It's $999 or $1,000. Okay, so either I'm really crap at estimating prices, or this is a good deal. So let's dive into it. The Thieaudio Perseus is essentially, I'm not going to go into detail in terms of unboxing and all that, because let's just dive into the sound, all right? So it's essentially kind of Harman-tuned, balanced, neutral sound, but it does have certain special sauce that made me like it so much. Let me refer to my notes. So let's start off with the foundation of the frequency range, which is basically the bass, right? Does that dual isobaric dynamic driver setup have an effect on the sound? We've seen some IEMs promise that or claim that they do have an effect, but sometimes you just don't hear it. But in this case, I think it does work. So the bass is balanced between sub bass and mid bass. Both seem to have equal emphasis, though I can say that the extension of the bass isn't very deep, so you don't get a lot of sub bass on it. The sub bass is there, the rumble is there, but it's not. It doesn't come up. It doesn't hit your chest. You don't get that feeling in your chest when something is rumbling super deep. So, but I think as a foundation for what it is, the mid bass has a good amount of presence. It has enough punch and impact to not feel left out, and I think that balance provides a good foundation for the entire frequency range, and it plays a very nice role in terms of the sound presentation. It's textured, it's tactile, it's just fast enough. It's not super fast, it's not slow, it's just the right amount of pacing on the for the bass. And I would say that the quantity is okay. It's not a bass headset, it's just nice. It's enough to not make you feel like you're missing anything. So one of my test tracks for bass is a song by Electronic called We People. So that song is fast, tight, detailed, bouncy, controlled amount with excellent information coming through. You get a lot of texture, a lot of information all coming through nicely, but it doesn't have that huge amount of impact and slam that you get with something that has a lot more sub bass. So it is missing that, but for what it is, it's excellent. So let's talk about the mids. The mids is clean, transparent. It could do a bit more warmth. So male vocals might not have the kind of fullness or deepness in the presentation that you would expect, but female vocals are very nicely done, very nicely presented. I'd say that the timbre, tonality are also very good, but what is the key strength here for the mids? I find that vocal presentation is very well done. So the vocals stand out on their own, they stand out above all the instruments in the background, but it's not forward. It's not that the vocals are forward and right in your face. It just stands out by itself. It's got its own space. It's very 3D sounding, and I think that's one of the highlights of the tuning for the Perseus. Moving on to the treble. So the treble is powered by the microplanar drivers, so you will understand or you will know that there are certain limitations to what these drivers can do. But in the case of the Perseus, it's also very nicely tuned. It's generally smooth most of the time. Occasionally, you can hear a little bit of sizzle on certain tracks. Not a deal breaker. I don't hear any sibilance. I think it's fine. It is bright enough. There's just the right amount of air in there, right amount of shimmer and sparkle. I would say if you are looking at the entire frequency range, the treble is kind of tuned to be non-fatiguing. It's more slightly relaxed compared to the other parts of the frequency range. But that actually makes it, it's actually one of the strengths of the set, because it actually allows you to listen for long sessions without getting fatigued. Okay, so let's talk about technicalities. The Perseus has a very nice wide soundstage. The staging on it is, I would say, it's actually even wider than the IER Z1R, the Sony, but it is not as tall. So the amount of width allows instruments to have their own space to breathe. Very nicely done, but it doesn't go very high. It's okay. I think it could be better, but at this price range, I think it's nothing to complain about in that sense. Soundstage depth, that part is one of the key weaknesses for this. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it. So my test track for this is Blue and Green by Miles Davis, and the piano that comes in at the start of it, normally it should sound 5-10 feet back, even in the next room, depending on how deep the soundstage is. But in the case of the Perseus, it just sounds like this right behind me, so it's flat. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have a proper staging in terms of forwardness. So it just sounds like the soundstage is only straight and then forward, so there isn't anything behind you. Okay, so that is probably one of the key weaknesses for this set. You don't get that kind of sound coming for you in a holographic way. It's just more forward, but that's fine, I guess. So you don't really notice it unless you're playing certain tracks that really require you to have that kind of instrument placement. Otherwise, it's fine. It's not as bad as I'm making it sound. But which leads me to the next point in terms of imaging. Imaging on this set is amazing. It's brilliant. Not taking into account the fact that it doesn't go back, but in terms of whatever you hear in front of you, the imaging, the placement of instruments, the placement of vocals, all that is excellent. I would say you can pinpoint exactly where certain instruments are, and it sounds 3D and it sounds real and natural. Vocal placement, like I was saying, it stands out on its own. It has its own space and it floats above everything else without sounding forward or recessed. I attribute this to the bone conduction. I think Effect Audio has done a great job in terms of using bone conduction in this sense. It reminds me a lot of the Unique Melody Mest as well as a Multiverse Mentor in terms of the way it's done. Instruments fly around, float around you without sounding diffuse. It doesn't sound like it's ethereal anyway. It sounds full. It sounds complete. So very, very well done. When I pick it up, when I listen to it, and after I've heard my other sets, after I've listened to my Thieaudio Radon 6, my IER Z1R, my 64 audio stuff, when I listen to it, it just stands out in such stark contrast to the others in terms of the way it images. Like I said, it's just Unique Melody level in terms of bone conducting tuning. Resolution and detail. So resolution is okay, is good, and detail retrieval is also okay. These are not the most revealing in terms of detail for instruments. You don't get a lot of micro detail. You don't get the trailing edges of vocals coming up very nicely, very well. I attribute it, again, I'm not a tuner, but I attribute it probably to the microplanars not being able to capture those nuances that maybe an EST driver can. But I think it's, again, perfectly fine at the price point, and it also is something that you probably have to sacrifice in order to get a more non-fatiguing listen. Not necessarily, I guess, but that's a topic for another day, I guess. But it's very okay in terms of resolution and detail retrieval. Perfectly fine, no complaints, but nothing stand out about it either. I would say that based on my description of the resolution and detail retrieval, you would expect it to be a musical sounding set, and yes, it is. It has got the right amount of musicality in it. Right? It's actually a very musical IEM, which again, like I was saying, backed up by the amazing imaging and separation, makes this very, very standout sounding tuning. So how does it sound against the competition in this price range? I'd say the two key IEMs that are around this price range would be the Monarch Mark IV as well as the Mysticraft Myth. The Monarch Mark IV to me is a very technically capable IEM. It does everything right. It ticks all the boxes, but I find it a little bit dry. So when I listen to it, I don't feel like it's something that I want to just keep listening to. It's not musical enough to me. Maybe I need to pair it with a better sauce, maybe a warmer sauce, something that pulls up, that makes it more engaging to me. But it's a bit too analytical for me in that sense, so I don't really like that, and I think the Perseus is a better IEM. The Myth, I think the Myth has a bit more, has the upper hand in terms of technicalities, in terms of resolution and detail retrieval. But tuning-wise, I think it depends on your preference, because the Myth has particular kind of tuning that is a bit mid-bass focused, pretty much a flat mid range. And I think the Myth actually has a narrower soundstage. It's a taller soundstage, but it's narrower. I prefer the way the Perseus handles soundstage because it makes it feel more relaxed and more open. To my ears, if I were to spend my $1,000 or thereabouts, I would definitely consider the Perseus, and my pick would actually be the Perseus compared to the other two. One last thing to note, this IEM is actually very, very easy to pair. It's actually, it plays well with everything I threw at it. So because it's a very easy to drive IEM, it doesn't actually scale very well. Interestingly, it doesn't seem to scale at all. So adding more power doesn't make it sound better. But not giving it too much power is fine too. So I've used dongles like my really old Thieaudio KA5, and it sounds excellent on it. I've used my Hy-B FC6, and again it sounds excellent. I've played it on the various motherboards on my Cayenne N63, and all of them sound good. My DX340, DX340 Max, everything sounds good on it. But here's the interesting thing, because it's very revealing. It actually brings out the character of each of your source that you use. So if you're using something like the Thieaudio KA5, neutral, flat, nothing in terms of height, in terms of soundstage and all that, and that's what it sounds like. The warmth in the FC6 comes through nicely. The warmth in the tubes as well as the R2R board for my Cayenne N63 also comes out very nicely, all very nicely presented. And the DX340, whatever I'm throwing it at it in terms of the Ananta tuning, the harmonic filters, all that, all are very, very nicely presented. If I put something on that has a bit more treble focus and that pushes up the sparkliness of the treble, it will come out. I can hear it there. If I decide that, hey, now that's way too much, I want something a bit more analog sounding, it will also come out that way. So if you're looking at a $1,000 IEM and you just don't want to deal with figuring out what kind of source you want to partner up with, or you already have your existing sources and you don't want to buy something new just to make sure that it sounds good, which happens a lot in a lot of IEMs, right? This is actually an excellent set. Just buy it, plug it into whatever you have, play it, and it's going to sound excellent. I do highly recommend the Perseus. I highly recommend you give it a try. I don't think it's getting enough attention. I think you should definitely have to listen to it if you're in the market for something at this price range. Thank you for watching.